Hey, what is going on, friends? It is Slash687 here with another PC-related video for you guys today. What I have here is the top 5 gaming CPUs for the money as of today, April 22nd. So let's get right into it, starting off with the lower-end CPUs and going up to the more expensive ones. The first CPU I have on my list is the AMD Athlon X4 860K. You guys have seen this one on my channel before. It's a very good for the money AMD quad-core CPU clocked at 3.7 GHz. It's based off the Kaveri architecture, so it's newer than a lot of the AMD CPUs you see out there. It's made on the 28nm process, draws 95 watts of power, and is on the socket FM2+, so you're going to have to get the compatible motherboard. You're going to have to get a socket FM2+ motherboard for this CPU. Overall, it's only $70. You're getting a very good overclockable quad-core CPU for very cheap. I'd put this in a probably $400, $500 at the most budget for a gaming PC, but it should fit very well into a lower budget PC, and overall for the price you can't really get a much better quad-core CPU. After that, I have a used CPU actually. These have been on the internet a lot recently, people making videos about them. They are very enticing for the value. It's an Intel Xeon E5 2670, clocked at only 2.6 GHz, but it's an 8-core CPU that draws 115 watts. So for only $73, you're getting a monster of a CPU here. 8 cores, 2.6 GHz. You can overclock it higher than that if you want, but you aren't really worried about the clock speeds on this thing. What you care about is the fact this thing is an 8-core Xeon CPU. It's going to be great for editing, great for rendering, live streaming, multitasking, and only $73. The only downside with these things are, though, is that they are used, and also the motherboards for these Xeons can be fairly expensive because they're kind of hard to find. There aren't that many out there since it's kind of old, and the ones that are out there are fairly expensive. But overall, even after you factor in the motherboard, it's still a very, very good value for an 8-core Intel CPU. So I had to throw the Xeon E5 2670 in here just because it's in so many videos lately, and it is a very enticing value for somebody who's looking to game as well as edit or anything like that on a budget. The next CPU I have is another 8-core, but it's on the AMD side. I have an AMD FX 8320, 8-core, 3.5 GHz, turbos up to 4.0 GHz CPU. It's a socket AM3 Plus chip, and it draws a pretty good amount of power at 125 watts. It also generates a good amount of heat, but throw on a good cooler and you can overclock this thing pretty high. It's on the 32nm process, it has 8 megabytes of cache, and overall for a budget editing, gaming, live streaming machine, it's pretty good. At only $140, that's about the price of a Skylake i3 or something like that. So when you compare it to an FX 8320, it can be enticing for somebody who wants to multitask and do things other than gaming. So you can't argue with the FX 8320 at the low price of $140. Next up, a very, very good deal. I'd say maybe the best deal for the money right now. It's an Intel Core i5 6600K 3.5 GHz CPU. It's unlocked as stated by the K. You can adjust the voltage, you can overclock this thing like a beast, and it's only $220 on this eBay listing with free shipping. So $220 is usually the cost of a regular 6600 or 6500 even. So only $220 if you're looking to get a new CPU right now at about the $200 range. I'd hop on this listing very quickly because it's a good $30 cheaper than all the other 6600K listings you'll see out there. So now's the time to act if you want to get this CPU on eBay. Only $220 on this listing. Very good for the money, very good for gaming, live streaming, pretty much anything you want to do. It's going to last you into the future based on the new Skylake architecture. It is a very capable, very good CPU that should last you well into the future and overclock like a beast. Next up on my list, I have an Intel Core i7 6700K. It's an 8 megabyte of cache Skylake CPU. It's quad core, clocked at 4.0 gigahertz, based on the LGA 1151 socket. It supports DDR4 and all the other things that you'd expect from a Skylake series CPU. It's also $15 off on Newegg right now. That's not a rebate or anything like that. It's just a promo code. Plug it in, you get $15 off right away, bringing this thing down to $345. I know, it's kind of expensive, kind of scary, but still a great deal for a Skylake i7. So I'd definitely pick this up if you are building a more high tier rig, you know, $1,000, $2,000, something in that range. Overall, for the price, this thing's gonna last you well into the future, and it's gonna pretty much handle anything you could possibly throw at it. So that's gonna wrap up the list for today. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did, be sure to show that like button some love. Be sure to slash that like button. And if you have any questions about PCs, if you want to build a PC, anything like that, leave your question in the comments, and the very nice gentleman at the Slash Think Tank will help you out. We will solve your problems. We'll solve the world's problems. Heck with it. By the end of it, we'll all be smarter. We'll all be making wise choices in the PC mustard race lifestyle. So be sure to subscribe if you're new, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at its/687. So I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.